Hello and welcome to the Southeast Iowa Union Newsbreak. I'm your host, Nick Steffens. There's a few things we have to deal with in this world: death, taxes, and road construction. There's about to be a lot of it in Washington County. Washington County supervisors approved a series of road improvement items Tuesday morning. The actions range from accepting a bid on a bridge project to greenlighting countywide safety plan updates. In 2021, Congress allocated over $1 billion to roadway safety funding through the Safe Streets and Roads for All grants. The money comes on the condition of up-to-date road safety plans, something many Iowa counties either haven't written or haven't revisited in years. Washington County engineer Jake Pithoria said the local government fell into the latter category. We've looked at the grant program to try and apply for some other money on things like paved shoulders. They require a local road safety plan, which we have, but they require a couple specific things in those plans to be updated that we aren't current on. Supervisors agreed to join a statewide effort to draft update local road safety plans, which aims to make all 99 counties eligible for the federal funds. We can't apply for any of those other funds until our plans are up to date, Thoria said. This resolution just says we're going to work together and do this so that we'll be able to work toward obtaining other funds for safety improvements across the county. There will be no cost in this initial application. On the issue of safety plans, the county signed off on 2 items for long sought after improvements to high traffic roads in and out of Washington. The first was a federal grant application for $500,000 to pave the shoulder along 3 miles of G36. Thoria said the project would prevent hazards along the riskiest parts of the stretch from Redwood Avenue to Highway 218. It's where a series of S-curves and switchbacks go back and forth, he said. We have a significant issue in that area. We struggle with the whole road, but even more so with that whole stretch. The second road safety improvement was a funding agreement for a centerline rumble strip along Riverside Road. Thoria said the state DOT had approved an allocation of $88,000 for the project, enough to cover the entire street from G36 to Riverside. Supervisor Stan Stoops said the project would help drivers with impaired vision. I've had an issue with my eyes in driving, and I like hearing that when I get over too far, he said. On a rainy night when there's a lot of glare, that means something to me. A bridge abutment project over Smith Creek on Dogwood Avenue west of Wellman hit the deadline for bids 30 minutes before the supervisor meeting. Out of the 4 bids, the county awarded the project to Washington business Iowa Bridge and Culver LLC at just under $77,000. Thoria said the cost was lower than expected. Our estimate for this project was around $85,000, so we're happy with where the numbers came in at. Construction on the bridge is expected to start this fall. Looking at some local election news, Saturday, Washington County, Iowa Democrats announced the official nomination of Eileen Barron as a candidate for Iowa House of Representatives. The Democratic group gathered at Kelowna Public Library for a special nominating convention in person and via Zoom. Monday, Barron filled her official papers at the Secretary of State in Des Moines. Barron hit the ground running and met for a campaign strategy meeting the day of her nomination. I want voters to have a choice, and I want to listen, she said. Regardless of my personal views on things, I want to listen and stand up on what my constituents are concerned about. We're going to take a break in a second, but first, let's take a look at the weather. After a gloomy start to the week, today has turned out beautiful. The high for today is 80 degrees and the low is 56, which is also a nice relief from the heat. Tomorrow there will be even more sun with a high of 86 and a low of 61. Thursday, the clouds will be making a comeback as temperatures remain relatively the same at 85. Friday will be pretty chilly with a high of only 79, and Saturday will be much warmer with a high of 88, and it'll be partly cloudy. It is not the most ideal weekend conditions, but still pretty good. We're going to take a brief break, and when we come back, we will have sports.
Since 1905, Kelowna Cooperative Technology Company has helped our community stay connected with the latest advancements in clear, dependable telecommunications services. KCTC provides rural Iowans with access to high-speed fiber internet, as well as phone, television, computer repair, and cybersecurity solutions. We're also proud supporters of local organizations and area schools within the community. KCTC, keeping Kelowna connected.
Hello and welcome back to the Southeast Iowa Union Newsbreak. I'm your host, Nick Steffens. We will have sports coming up, but for now it is obituaries. James S. Denning of Houghton passed away on August 8th at the age of 98. Arrangements are pending with Schmidt's Funeral Home of West Point. Ethel Pauline Jeffries of Washington passed away August 8th at the age of 96. A celebration of life will be held at 11 a.m. on August 11th at Jones and Eden Funeral Home. Jones and Eden Funeral Home is in charge of arrangements. Leota Virginia Boyce of Camdenton, Missouri passed away on August 6th at the age of 98. Services will be held at 1 p.m. today, were held at 1 p.m. today at Camdenton United Methodist Church. Bradina A. Metz of Fairfield passed away on August 7th at the age of 97. Services will be held at 1 p.m. September 24th at Evergreen Cemetery. Banner Funeral Home is in charge of the arrangements. Dolores Hans of Winfield passed away on August 6th at the age of 91. Funeral services will be held at 2 p.m. at Snyder and Hollenbaugh Funeral Home in cremation services. That was obituaries. It is now time for sports.
Sports, brought to you by Fairway.
Union area baseball teams are some of the best in the state this season. With the release of the Iowa High School Baseball Coaches Association's All-State teams, 8 of those players have now received some of the highest recognition for play. New London leads the area with 4 players on the lists, followed by Mid-Prairie, Highland, Cardinal, and Keota. For New London, Cooper Schulte, Tucker Guybar, Joshua Cotala, were all named to first team. Derek Santiago was named to second team. Schulte was about as good as they come in the infield. He finished the season with an average of .444. In the Southeast Iowa Super Conference South Division, he led in both runs and RBIs with 50 and 44 respectively. His 6 home runs were second in the league and 6th in Class 1A. From the hill, Schulte was fantastic. He held a 0 ERA until the state championship and held batters to an average of 67, not 670, 067. Behind the plate, Guybar led the SC South in thrown out runners with 7. He wasn't too shabby at the plate either. He averaged .420 in the box and was 5th in RBIs with 31. His 34 hits ranked 5th in the conference. Cotala finished with an average of .403. His 32 runs were 5th best in the conference. He ended with 31 hits. He also drew the 3rd most walks with 24. Cotala also ended with 20 RBIs on the season. As for Santiago, he hit .429 throughout the season. His 39 RBIs trailed only Schulte in the SEISC South. He ended second in both runs with 42 and hits with 39. His 4 triples were a conference best. Santiago wasn't too bad at pitching either. He led this conference and was 3rd in the state with 10 total wins. His 74 strikeouts were a SEISC South best. His ERA was 4th best with an average of 86. Opponents' batting average were just a 141 against Santiago. Highland's 1 selection is Connor Grindstead on the 3rd team. Grindstead was one of the top outfielders in the area this past season. Grindstead finished with a batting average of .427. He finished with 22 total stolen bases, second to only teammate Brenton Bonebreak. With 34 runs and 35 hits, he finished second. Representing Cardinal as a pitcher on the Class 2A 3rd team is Landon Becker. Becker is one of the top pitchers in the area. He finished with a 6-1 record and tallied a .47 ERA along the way. Against the 189 batters Becker faced, he only allowed 16 runs, 3 of which were earned on 32 hits, 16 walks, and 54 strikeouts. Opponents had a .169 average against Becker. He also led the Comets in stolen bases with 26, and he batted .349 in the season and led Cardinal in runs and hits with 23 and 30 respectively. He also had 21 RBIs, second best on the team. Representing Mid-Prairie on the Class 2A 2nd team list is Carson Grout. Over the course of the season, he was stellar on both the mound and the plate. His .372 average in the box was 6th best in the River Valley South. He finished 3rd in home runs with 2 and 2nd in total RBIs with 28. His 7 season doubles were tied for 2nd most and 2 triples tied for 3rd. He ended tied for 3rd in total bases as well with 46. For Keota, Colton Clarahan was selected as a recipient of the Gary and Sandy Niehaus Leadership Award. He, along with 3 others, were given the distinction. Clarahan was fantastic on both ends of the ball. He ended the year with a .507 batting average, tallying a team best in hits with 37 and runs with 25. He also finished with 32 singles, 5 doubles, and 16 RBIs. On the hill, Clarahan faced 251 batters, allowing 43 runs, 23 of which were earned on just 30 hits, 50 walks, and then 7 hit by pitches, along with 100 strikeouts. That is the news for Washington and the surrounding area. I've been your host, Nick Steffens. This is the Southeast Iowa Union Newsbreak, and I will see you next time.